Good morning. Happy Friday. I'm feeling that this morning. And when I bought this glitter, I specifically thought of you and sharing it on the show just like that. So greetings. Today's episode is about when the shit hits the fan and managing your mind after you've made a bold decision and the shit hits the fan. I had a really rough night last night, and I'm really glad to be able to be here with you and share this because what's happening now and how I'm managing this now is not how I would have managed this even 2 years ago. And so here's what happened. I made an announcement yesterday. First of all, I made a decision, right? So before the announcement, there's things that happen behind the scenes that you guys don't see. Just like when you make a decision, nobody knows you've made that decision until you get into the action of it, right? Or you produce some kind of result because you made a decision. I just realized I haven't even really looked at myself. Anyway. All right, let me get here. So I made a decision, then I made an announcement. I made the announcement to my email subscriber community. So there are things that I share with my email subscriber community that I either don't share anywhere else or I don't share anywhere else until later. And so I shared something with my email subscriber community yesterday, and this is inevitable. And I'm sharing this for you so you can, if you're in the process of, or when you do. Yesterday, it's like this, all the opposing folks showed up. I don't like that in my screen, that bag right there. All the opposing, excuse me. All the opposing forces showed up yesterday. This is what I love about opposing forces. They actually are a refiner. See, because though we're on the leading edge, you and I, we are birthing signature work. We are restoring the power that is within us that has been, chopped off and manipulated in different ways, and we're restoring that power. And oftentimes in that, we're operating from a conviction, from a heart place, right? From a personal place. And there's, refinement always in the moving forward of a thing. There's refinement, there's, and it's so personal to you. It's like you just made the decision to go, and then maybe there's somewhere that needs to be cleaned up. There's something to be considered. There's some way to create some order. There's something you want to integrate now that you've never integrated before, right? And it's for you. It's your signature path. I can't tell you how to do that, and neither can anybody else. And what I'm saying here is that in my experience, and I want you to play with this in your own world and really consider, if this is true for you, is that when things come up, like, okay, boom, you make this decision. It's this bold, declarative decision to go in this certain direction, right? And then that within a minute or a few hours or within that day, it's like the enemy shows up. It's like opposing forces show up. Things appear to be, wrong and bad and, right, fucked up. And it can, if you're not careful, you can, you'll hear people who have not learned to manage their mind. They'll be like, oh, well, maybe now's not the right time, right? Something in life will happen and be like, well, maybe now's not the right time, or maybe I made a bad decision, or maybe I'm asking for too much, or maybe it's not for me, or maybe, right? Where you must know. And this is why I'm so grateful, because as soon as it happened, and I was like, what in the holy what? And I realized that, Of course, yes, of course. I should have put like a sticky on the wall to be like, okay, Naima, remember that the opposing forces are going to show up immediately or sometime within the day. And that's exactly what happened. And so how do you do, I mean, this is really just, you know, on some level, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir and talking about this. But I really want to, it's a thing. It's like, and it's going to happen all the time. I mean, I had some shit happen. What was it like? I don't know, a week. I don't even keep track with these things because it's just like in my world, shit is hitting the fan all the time on some level. And it's really good. Like, it might not feel good all the time. And I might need to go take 2 naps during the day, right? Or whatever the thing is. But it like last night was pure refinement. I was at Target just thinking. Like, I wasn't even in there to shop. I was in there just thinking and walking and like going mad and, you know, over in the corner, like thinking and talking and thinking and like, and it was the refinement that was going on, the questions that I was asking and the, you know, okay, consider this and like, you know, and even thinking like from the future back, doing this reverse engineering in my mind. And it was like really, you know, when you get to this place of recognizing that everything is happening for you and not to you, you start, when something happens, you immediately look at, okay, so what's going on here? You start to really look at it from that position of, okay, so how is this helping me right now? Versus why is this happening to me and falling into this victim, you know, shit that takes you out of the game. And we don't have time for that. We don't have time to be on the floor talking about why does this happen? Why is this happening to me? And so it was like so much came through and I ended up in the bed earlier and I was just so grateful. I remember being so grateful and preparing to be here with you, which is why I'm really glad also that I have this show, is because I know I have somewhere to be at 9 a.m. Pacific every weekday and that I'm sharing, that I'm pouring into somebody. And so that's really today, that's really what's up for today. The message for today is how do you manage your mind when the shit hits the fan after you make a bold decision. And it's one, you recognize that everything is happening for you and not to you. And to use that as a refinement opportunity, because normally when things are going well, and you seem like you got a good plan and, you know, things are chugging along and you're feeling good and optimistic and ready and enthusiastic and momentum and forward moving, you typically, right, you're in that and you don't really do the deep inquiry and you don't really learn anything. But as soon as the shit hits the fan, as soon as some like opposing force shows up, as soon as things start to not feel good, as soon as, right, it's like, you know, something seems to not be working out, you start questioning, right? Deeper questioning. You start being like, you know, am I really doing this? Why am I really doing this? Who is this for? Does this serve the purpose, the big vision, right? You start looking in between the lines and looking underneath things and, right, there's a refinement. So this is how you really start to manage your mind and stay in a good place when the shit hits the fan, because it's going to hit the fan as you're up leveling. So I encourage you to really try to, you know, and I've said this before, maybe it's time to say it again. Put this as a sticky note up on your computer or on the wall or something, that everything is happening for you, not to you. Everything is happening for you and not to you. And then it might be time for you to pivot. I mean, like, that's something you got to inquire about. And you're not alone on this path of when it gets difficult and you're questioning, did you take the right direction? And, you know, should you or should you not hire this person? Or, you know, do you really want to give yourself all in to this particular thing? Like, you are so not alone. I mean, like, I had a conversation with a friend in the United Kingdom yesterday, and she's, you know, was talking about her issues with her transforming her relationship with money and making the right choices as it relates to men. And you're not alone. You're not alone. I just want you to know that. So remember these things. 1, everything is happening for you and not to you. Number 2, when the shit hits the fan, look at it as refinement, not as like you're being swallowed and no one wants to see you win, and right? It's refinement. It's refinement. It's refinement. And It was the third piece I said. What was it? Everything's happening for you, not to you. This is refinement. And there was a third piece. You can go back and look at the video and get that. But needless to say is don't quit unless you know it's really time for you to quit. And how do you know? I don't know how you know. Like, I can't tell you when to quit. I'll share with you this thing that I heard Gary Vee say, and it's just honest. He talked about the people who quit, and perhaps the next time or the next third time would have been the hit. They will never know because they quit. And that's just the way it is. No one ever knows. However, if you know you just can't quit, like you would die, like you would become self-destructive, then you just know that you figure it out and it becomes a necessity. I watched a video yesterday with Tom Bilyeu and Brandon Burchard, and they talked about this. When your entrepreneurial journey goes from doing it because it's passionate and right, you love it and it's serving people and all that, to then becoming a necessity that it must work. I encourage you to go watch that video. It is, you know, and it's more than 20 minutes into the video because it's a 48-minute video. So you got to fast forward probably like 20 minutes or so before they get to that. And they talked about the difference between passion and necessity. And basically the obsession. Brenda Burchard started to talk about obsession and how that changes things when you become obsessed in your business. So if you're obsessed like I am, ridiculous, right? That's a whole other video. You can't quit. So that's how you know the whole question of, can I quit? Should I not quit? There's your answer. So go watch the replay because I think there were 3 pieces here about how to manage your mind. Manage your mind. Have a great weekend. I will see you next week, same time.